The silence across these rolling hills is occasionally broken by the call of a meadowlark. This place is hallowed ground. This is Little Bighorn Battlefield.
There's definitely something sacred about this area simply because the reason that these Indians, the Sioux and the Cheyenne, were fighting was to preserve their way of life. And the reason the Crows were fighting was to preserve their way of life. Even though they were scouting against the Sioux and Cheyenne, all of the Indians had that in common, that they wanted to live how they wanted to live. And this was one of the last battles that the Indians won, defending that right. So there's something sacred about the land here, and all the bloodshed, you have to respect this area because so many people gave their lives.
It's a very spiritual place for a lot of people. This place has a very strong emotional punch. I've seen first-time visitors and repeat visitors in tears, whether they're sitting here enjoying one of the ranger presentations, learning about what happened, maybe learning something different from what they heard in the Hollywood version or their school books and history classes. But sometimes just standing up on Last End Hill or walking through the Indian Memorial, the sense of place, and it's very somber.
There has been much written and many movies made about the Battle of the Little Bighorn, also known as Custer's Last Stand. For Luella, the history of this place is very real to her and her family.
As we cross over this cattle guard, we're entering private land. So welcome to the Crow Indian Reservation. On the other side of where the interstate now stands, they see a pony herd of roughly 18,000 to 20,000 horses. Now, with that many ponies, they knew that there was a lot of warriors in this encampment. I'm the great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Gozahead, who was a scout. Also half Yellowface. I am the great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter of him. He was Gozahead's father-in-law. We have Gozahead's account of the battle in the book Pretty Shield. Pretty Shield, medicine woman of the Crow, she was his wife. And so she gives his account. And it's really interesting because it's different than some of the more common accounts that we look at. And I tend to trust that one more because she got it directly from her husband. And some of these other accounts have been kind of passed down a little further. So, but it's really interesting to do all this research and find out, you know, this is what so-and-so said and this is what so-and-so said. And then when they match up, you're like, oh my God, this is the truth. So it's fun looking at all of that.
All through the battlefield, including down here on Deep Ravine, there are white soldier markers indicating where bodies were found. The Indian warriors, each of the tribes would have come in and removed the warrior bodies from the battlefield immediately after the battle occurred. The Army attempted to do on-site burials, but the conditions were really difficult, and within a couple years of the battle, all the efforts had been made to remove all the bodies from the battlefield. The soldiers, the enlisted men, are buried up on Last End Hill in a mass grave, and the officers, for the most part, were removed right after the battle by their families and taken to maybe a family cemetery. In the case of Custer, he's at West Point.
The park itself is 765 acres, and the battlefield is an estimated 11,000. On average, there are 300,000 visitors each year.
What we encourage folks to do is stop at the visitor center and watch our really great orientation film. It's about a 25-minute video. And then we also have several different ranger talks that happen throughout the day right here on the patio. It's a really important piece of American history, and I hear our staff say every day, and if you're here later this afternoon, you'll hear me say it when the Arikara Old Scout Society comes, and tomorrow when we have Lakota and other folks here honoring their ancestors. For us to work here, it's a privilege every day to come here, to know that for the 5,000 servicemen, women, and family members that are buried in the cemetery, you know, this is their final resting place, as well as for those who fought here during the battle. And so it's, in addition to being obviously a spectacularly beautiful place to be and to come to work. I was listening last night at a meeting about Sand Creek to a woman talk about the heaviness in her heart, and all of the things that have been done over the years. And yet in this place, for some people, there's an opportunity for peace and healing. And we really feel that with the Indian Memorial and our ability to tell a more balanced story now than might have been done initially in a pure Army focus. It is a privilege and a real honor to be here and to be able to share the story of what happened here.
It's important to remember what happened here at Little Bighorn because it is the antithesis of that clash of cultures. We're still clashing, but this was the biggest clash. I mean, so many people died. So many Indians survived, but it's because there were so many of them down there. They had a huge advantage in this battle, and hopefully in the coming years we can have that same advantage in being recognized and being allowing us to become more traditional and allowing us to become more successful in this other people's world.